Woefully insufficient. That's what a federal judge in Washington says about the Justice Department's response to his request for more details on the deportation flights. Judge James Boasberg says the department submitted a sealed filing shortly after today's deadline, where it evaded its obligations. He's now ordering the Trump administration to explain by Tuesday how it did not violate his order over the weekend. Boasberg had ordered a halt to flights carrying suspected Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador under the Wartime Alien Enemies Act. Well, now the administration is having to justify why it sent hundreds of people to El Salvador anyway and didn't bring them back. Eisen is a senior fellow in governance studies at the Brookings Institution. He investigated President Trump as counsel to the House Judiciary Committee in the first impeachment trial and litigated cases involving Mr. Trump previously. Norm, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
So Judge Boasberg has given the Justice Department several opportunities to provide details about those deportation flights and when they took off. After today's deadline passed, the judge said the details given were woefully inadequate. If Trump defies the courts, what can the judge do?
The judge, in the first instance, can hold the government in civil contempt. He can find against them in the case. He can penalize them by saying, I'm going to rule against you or draw an inference against you in the case. He can, in the most extreme case, refer for criminal contempt, although that would have to be prosecuted by the government. It's no laughing matter to run afoul of a judge if the higher courts, as I think they will back up Jeb Boasberg. This is a judge who has been nominated twice for judgeships, once by a Republican president, once by a Democratic president. The Chief Justice of the United States, himself a Republican nominee, chose Judge Boasberg to be the representative on our FISA court, our court that oversees surveillance activities. He's widely respected, and looking at the evidence, he seems to be right. His court orders were apparently flouted. So I think this is going to end badly for the Trump administration.
And of course, Trump carried out these deportation flights under this rarely evoked wartime statute. Some family members of those kicked out of the country said they're not gang members. They were simply in the U.S. trying to seek asylum through the right channels. Trump, as you know, has called Judge Boasberg a leftist lunatic. You've known him for decades. Tell us more about his track record and what it suggests.
I first met him when I was a young defense lawyer here in D.C., and he was a prosecutor in our D.C. Superior Court. He's respected by everyone. He's ruled against Democrats often in his career. He plays it down the middle. The rhetoric that Donald Trump and his allies have used about Judge Boasberg and other judges is so extreme and inappropriate that we saw something, Lynda, we never see in the United States judiciary. The Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts, a Republican appointed judge, spoke out and condemned Trump, saying calls for consequences against judges is not how we do it in the United States. If you don't like an order, appeal it. So I think that Trump has picked the wrong judge to unfairly attack.
And just to remind our viewers, you, of course, Norm, investigated Donald Trump in the first impeachment. I just want to play some sound of what he said about you.
There's a guy named Norm Eisen. I don't even know what he looks like. His name is Norm Eisen of Crew. He's been after me for 9 years. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he looks like. But everything I read is Norm Eisen of Crew. And Crew is a charitable organization. And that's a political thing. His sole life is to get Donald Trump.
I mean, just how dangerous is it, Norm, when you see politicians personally attack people in the judiciary?
It's terribly wrong, the attacks that Donald Trump has done against judges and others. But why is he singling me out there, Lynda? Because I've been taking him to court at my current nonprofit, the State Democracy Defenders Fund, and we've been winning case after case. We got an order protecting 6,000 FBI agents from being targeted by Trump. We got a preliminary injunction with our partners restoring over 20,000 federal employees to their jobs. Just on Monday this week, we won a huge case in federal court that Elon Musk and Doge, his organization, acted illegally in shutting down USAID. Donald Trump is losing constantly, and he's lashing out because of losing. But if he thinks he's going to intimidate me, he's got another thing coming. I'm going to work that much harder. And the same is true of our federal judges. Do you know over 80% of cases coming before Democratic judges, Democratic appointed judges, Trump has lost. Also over 80% before Republican appointed judges. Our judges are not going to be bullied this way, and neither am I.
And speaking of bullying, Trump has lashed out again just moments ago, posting on Truth Social, writing that Judge James Boasberg is doing everything in his power to usurp the power of the presidency. He is a local unknown judge, a grandstander looking for publicity, and it cannot be for any other reason because his rulings are so ridiculous and inept. Save America. What's your response?
Well, saying one of our most distinguished federal judges is unknown is like when Donald Trump said he doesn't know who I am. When I was in court for his criminal trial, he would glare and point at me multiple times. Jeb Boasberg is one of the most well-known, well-respected judges in D.C. and in our country. He's simply applying the law. Donald Trump had no cause and his administration to deport people. Now we learn, Lynda, there's innocent people, it appears, who are on that flight. That's why we have the rule of law in America. That's why we have judges. No, Donald Trump cannot ignore the Constitution that says judges make these decisions. And I just think he's making his own situation worse with these tweets. But he can't help himself. That's why he's losing over 80% of the time, no matter who appoints the judge.
Interesting fact. Norm Eisen, good to have you on the program. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. You're watching CNN.